Uh, Last week we discussed about volumes, persistent volumes and persistent volume claims, how to use volumes, what is dynamic volume, what is static volume. We discussed about provisionals. We discussed about all these subjects, parts, services, RC, RS, DS and deployment. This is volumes, right? In volumes we have persistent volume claim, storage classes like that is static volume, dynamic volume. Right? Now we have one more Kubernetes object called stateful set. We have one more Kubernetes object called stateful set. So if you see, we can deploy our application as a container. That container is wrapped under pod. We should not create a pod directly. So we have to go with RC or RS or DS or deployment as a controller. We discussed what is daemon set, what is the advantage with the deployment compared to the replication set or replication controller. Now we have one more object called stateful set. How different the stateful set is from the replica set or deployment. As I already told, deployments are usually used for stateless applications. Deployments are usually used for stateless applications. But however, if you want to maintain the state, you can use persistent volumes. You can attach a volume to the deployment, your pod. If you want to save the state of the deployment, the state of the pod, right? By attaching a persistent volume, you can make it stateful. You can make the deployment also stateful by using volumes. But suppose if I have a deployment and if I have a 3 replicas, if I have a deployment, if I have a 3 replicas or 4 replicas, if I attach a volume to that deployment, am I going to get 4 different storages or 4 different volumes for those replicas? Or one volume, one storage for all the 4 replicas in the deployment, right? If you see, all the pods of the deployment will be sharing the same value. All the parts of the deployment will be sharing the same value, right? In case of deployment. If you see something like this, you have a Kubernetes worker. You have Kubernetes master. Suppose you are using one value, right? For the deployment, if you have a 2 replicas, this is the replica 1. and this replica too. Right? In your pod manifest, if you mention this value, right? If you mount with the pod, all the pods will be using same value in case of deployment. This will also be mounted with same value, this replica, this pod, and this pod also will be mounted with same in case of deployment. If you see your pod manifest, if you see the pod manifest, right, where we are attaching a value, if you see values, this value, right, we are mounting with this path, this container, right? Suppose if I have a 4 replicas, 3 replicas, same value will be shared with all the pods in case of a deployment. But if I go for a stateful set, stateful set is a Kubernetes resource used to manage stateful applications. So stateful set also will manage the pods. Stateful set also will manage the pods. But when we are creating a stateful set, it will guarantee the order and uniqueness of these pods. What is the meaning of ordering here in a stateful set, right? When I am creating a stateful set, when I create a stateful set, right? If I go for a stateful set, we'll get unique network identifiers and stateful set will create pods one after the other. What does it mean, right? Suppose if I go for a deployment, when I go for a deployment or when I go for a replica set or replication controller, right? So if I have a 3 replicas, when I am creating a deployment or when I am creating a replica set, when I am creating, okay, will it create one by one or it will create all the parts at the same time? When we are creating, guys, don't forget about updating the deployment, okay? When we are creating, right, it will create all the parts at the same time. And also if I am using values, do I get a different value for each part of the deployment or of the replica set? Do I get a different values for each part? Right? We will get a same value. Same value is going to be attached. So deployments are basically used for stateless application, but however you can make stateful by using the values. But stateful sets are basically for stateful applications. We will get a unique network identifiers, and also stateful set create pods one after the other. And each pod in a stateful set will get its own value. Suppose if I have a 3 replicas in a stateful set, how many values will be there for that stateful set? Like for each pod there will be a value. And we will get a unique network identifiers. What is the meaning of unique network identifiers, right? The host names. So basically the pod names. In case of replica set, how are we getting the pod names? In case of deployment, are we getting any pattern? Are we getting any fixed name for a pod names? Basically that is host name. It's giving some random, right? A deployment name, your hyphen random, replica set name random, some alphanumeric characters, right? But when I go for a stateful set, suppose if my stateful set name is Mongo, right? So if I have a 3 replicas, what will be the name of those pods, right? It will be something like this. Mongo 0, Mongo 1, Mongo 3, something like this. If this is my stateful set, first it will be created. Then if I have a 3 replicas, then it will be created. Then the third will be recreated one after the other. So it will have a unique network identifiers. Stateful set is also a controller, right? It will manage the pods, right? If you create a stateful set with name Mongo, it will create a pod with the name Mongo 0, Mongo 1, 2, etc. Something like this. Every replica of a stateful set will have its own state. So each pod in a stateful set will have its own value. It is not shared kind of a storage. Right? So each of your pod is guaranteed with same network identifier and same value even after recreation or read up. If one of your pod goes down in a stateful set, suppose if you have a stateful set, replica 2, stateful set replica 1, right? If you have right, this will have its own value. This will have its own value. You will get some unique, suppose the stateful set name is Mongo. It will be like Mongo 0, the name, host name, pod name. It is like Mongo 1. If this pod goes down, you have a storage. Again, pod will be created with same name, same network identifier. And this pod will maintain the same state, same value. So each of your pod is guaranteed with same network identity. That is your pod name. Again, that is your host name and state. So stateful application, basically stateful set is used for what kind of applications? Right, in the interview they may ask, what is stateful set? for what kind of applications you are using stateful set. The stateful set is basically for like the applications which you need to maintain the state, like databases, right? Suppose you are running your Jenkins also as a Kubernetes pod. So do I need to maintain the state of Jenkins containers? Basically, the Jenkins will have our jobs, our configurations. So what kind of object I need to create in case of Jenkins if I am trying to deploy Jenkins also as a Kubernetes pod? What kind of object I can use? The stateful set, right? You can use deployment also. You can use deployment also, but what is the recommended way for a stateful application in a Kubernetes? It is stateful set. And databases like Mongo database or cache applications like Redis cache. So this is how you can, this is stateful set. Now let me deploy my application, my Mongo database as a stateful set. As I told, what is the stateful set? Will give stable and unique network identifier, stable and persistent storage. Say, each and every pod will have its own storage, each value. Ordered, it will create the pods one after the other, right? So let me let me explain how to create a stateful set. So for stateful set, again, in the manifest, API version, kind, metadata, and spec. API version, kind, metadata, and spec. For stateful set, API version is app/v1. For stateful set, the API version is app/v1. Something like this. App/v1. Kind, what kind of object you want to create? Stateful set. Metadata, name. So this is my stateful set name, Mongo. Spec, again selector. If you don't mention replicas, right, it will create one replica. If you don't mention, it will create one replica. Selector, again here you can use that match labels. Whatever, something like this. Something like this spec. Again, you have a template here. You have template, your pod template. Your pod template. Under this, you have to give metadata. Name, Mongo. Labels. Label is basically this whatever selector you are giving here, something like this. Then your spec, something like this. So here You can mention containers basically. Name Mongo. This container name I am giving Mongo. You can give whatever you want to give. Something like this may be Mongo container. And here image, from which image you want to create. Image name is also Mongo in my case. Ports. Your container port. Container port is 27017. Right? Now we have to use, if I want to set a username and password, right, what I will use? While setting up a database, if you want to secure the database with username and password, we are passing the environment variables, right? How can we set the username and password? Something like this. This environment variables. Environment variables. Okay. Now values. So here at a container level, what attribute we are using to map values, right? At a container level, you need to define here value, here values, but at a container level, here how we are mapping value, what? Mounts, right? So value mounts. To which directory you want to mount the value? You can give some name, something Mongo DB or Mongo persistent storage, something like this. Some name, mount path. In case of Mongo, what is the mount path? In case of Mongo database, which is running as a container, that is something like this, data/db. This is the important folder which I want to mount. Now the main difference comes here. The main difference comes here under values, right? So here we are not going to use values. We are going to mention something like this, value claim templates. Value claim templates. You no need to create a claim. You just mention in a template name. So this name should be same as here. Then spec. Value claim templates. Now I just need to mention the claim template access mode, no, like access mode, access modes. What type of access mode I need? I can mention something like this, read, write once. Then resources, requests. So I'm just mentioning the claim template. Here we are not defining a values, and you no need to create a persistent value claim object also. Here in your manifest, you are mentioning your claim template, value claim template. So here, if I have mentioned 3 replicas, how many claim objects, how many persistent value claims will be created? I'm not creating a claim object also in case of replica set. I'm just mentioning my claim template. If I have 3 replicas, this is my claim template. With this information, how many persistent volume claims will be created? With this information, how many persistent volume claims will be created? 3 persistent volume claims. Suppose it is going to create a 3 persistent volume claims. Then who will create a persistent volume? Who will create a persistent volume? Do I need to create manually? Or if I have a storage class configured, do I need to create manually? Or that storage class, the provisioner will create the persistent volume object? You can mention the storage class name also, something like this here. NFS storage class, right? That is what I have created. If I don't mention also, this is my default storage class. If you see, I have a storage class configured in my cluster. This is my storage class name, which is default, right? So if I can mention something like this also. If I don't mention also, if there is no volume it is going to create a persistent volume claim based on your number of replicas. Those many PVC will be created. If there is no PV and there is a storage class, so this guy will create a persistent volume also. So last week when we were practicing, the PV, the persistent volume was not created because there is a change, there are some changes, API changes in the latest version. I have updated this image in my NFS provisioner. So I updated this image, which will work for the latest Kubernetes versions. So it is able to create now. It is able to create now. Guys, anyone practice this one? Like, are you guys able to, use that storage class? Do you see, is it working for you? I shared this in a running notes, right? So now there is a storage class which will take care the volume creations also. So there is a storage class which will take care the persistent values. Now here we need to give one more thing. While creating a stateful set itself, you need to mention the service name. Guys, earlier, whenever we are creating a replica set, deployment, daemon set, we are creating a deployment, we are creating a replica set separately, then we are creating a service name separately. But we are not linking, we are not mentioning, right? But here, you need to provide a service name for this stateful set. You need to create a service. That service name you have to mention. API version, kind, metadata, spec. So whatever name, whatever service you created, something like this service name has to be provided here. Then you know how to create a service. Guys, there is a one more type of service when it comes to stateful set, right? When it comes to stateful set, we will use headless service. We will use headless service. In interview, they may ask this question also, what is headless service? We will use headless service. So what is headless service, right? The service without load balancing feature. the service without load balancing. Suppose if I have a 3 replicas, 3 endpoints for my service, normal service, how it will act as? The service will act as what, guys? The service will act as a load balancer, right? It will distribute the traffic to like first pod or second pod or third pod when request goes to service. When we create a headless service, right? When we create a headless service, it is without load balancer. It will always send the traffic to the whatever first pod available in that service. Right? So sometimes you may have a scenario, guys. Sometimes you may have a scenario something like this. Your application has to connect to your databases without load balancing, like Mongo 0, Mongo 1, Mongo 2, right? Something like this. Your application want to connect to your pods individually. Then you can use your host names, the pod names, with headless service. What is headless service? It will not do the load balancing. So you can create a headless service. If you don't want a load balancing feature within your service, you can create a headless service. How to create a headless service? What is the type? Right? I have to mention everything is same. Everything is same, like the service kind, name, metadata. The name should come under metadata. Spec. Here everything is same, like selector, selector, whatever you have, app, Mongo, ports, your ports. Port is also I am giving 27017 and target port is also 27017. Then your here, so far we used to give type something like this, type cluster IP or node port, something like this. Now here we are going to mention something like this, cluster IP none. So what does it mean? It's headless service. So if you create this type of services, there won't be any load balancing, right? It will directly talk to the pod, right? And you will get a state, you will get a unique container names also. If you don't want to use service, right? You just create a headless service and you use your host names, your pod names, right? Application can directly connect to your multiple replicas. So now let's create stateful set. I have a manifest file here in our GitHub, right? I'm going to use that because if I copy paste, there will be a, this indentation problems. So this is my stateful set. We are creating a stateful set. Okay. Then we are creating a service. This you no need to mention this. Let me come back. You no need to create a persistent value manually. Suppose if you don't have a storage class configured, if you don't have a storage class configured, if you just mention something like this, if you just mention claim templates, if you don't have a storage class configured, is your stateful set is going to be created, guys? Suppose In that case, you need to create PV also yourself manually. So I'm going to use, we have a storage class configured already, right? So we have a storage class configured. We will use, I'm not going to create the persistent volume claim or whatever it is. If you see this one here, I'm using stateful set to deploy the database pod, right? Stateful set to deploy the database application. And our front end application, what kind of object I am creating here? This is stateless application. What object I am using, right? For this image, we are using deployment. So this is my manifest file. Let me take this manifest file. Let me delete existing. I already have this one, but this time my database is running as what? My database is running as replica set, right? Now I am going to use stateful set. Let me delete this. Now let me see if I don't have, it is getting terminated maybe because my nodes are not healthy. Okay, it is healthy, it is getting terminated. Okay, yeah, now everything is terminated. So now if you see this one, I just created a PVC guys last week. I just created a PVC. This PVC we created a PV using that storage class, the dynamic value. So now let me delete this one also, just to let it be. I will not delete, let it be. Okay. So now I am going to demonstrate the stateful set. Mongo with the stateful set. So this is my pod manifest. Guys, don't get confused. Right here, labels, right? Whatever you want to use. Here label I have used role as Mongo. So selector is role as Mongo instead of app Mongo. This doesn't matter. It's just a key value pair. Whatever you want to use, you can use. This is what I have labeled my pod, role Mongo. Here I have used selector as role Mongo. This is just a key value pair. You can use anything. This names also. Do I need to, can I give something like this? Is it going to throw any error? It's just a name, whatever name you want to give, right? Mongo. Here service name, also Mongo, right? So that service name I am using here in my application as a host name. So now let me show you before applying. This is for a different, I already have one PVC, one PV. This is used for a different purpose. Now I am going to create this one. Now let me open another tab. Let me, Let me connect to the master itself. Here you just watch the pods. I am yet to create a that that manifest. So now let me apply this here, that manifest. Now here is all the three replicas of stateful set is getting created at the same time. If you see the deployment parts are created at the same time, but if you see the stateful set, is it creating all three ones or it is doing one by one? First Mongo-0, it is following the ordering. Mongo-1, once that is ready, then Mongo-2, right? One after the other. Now I have three stateful set. I'm using values for these three stateful sets. So how many values, how many persistent value claims has been created? Let me close this one now. If you see how many persistent values created for that, this one. This one is mounted with, this PVC is used with this first replica. This PVC is used with this second replica, this one. This PVC is used with other replica. How many PVCs are there? 3. Then each PVC is created one PV. So this one, and this one. Who created these persistent values? Right? The dynamic provisioner storage class. If I go and check in my NFS server, if I go and check in my NFS server, let me check in the NFS server. If you see, what is this? This is one folder which is created under that MNT share. So this storage, this directory is maintaining which pod state? Which pod state? This one. This pod 0. So each right, you have Mongo 01, Mongo 1, 2, right? So if you see in your NFS, right, this is one PV, this is another PV, this is another PV, right? So each and every pod will have its own value, which will maintain the state. Right? Stateful sets are used for maintaining the stateful applications. Each pod will have its own storage, its own value, and also it will maintain unique. You will get a stable network identifier. You will get a stable network identifier, something like this. If due to some reason, if this pod is deleted, if this pod is crashed, right? Again, you will get a pod with same name. And which storage it will use? Which value again it will use? This value. You will have a stable network and stable state when I go for a stateful applications like stateful set. If that pod is gone, right, you will get a pod with same name. That pod will use same storage, whatever it was used earlier. So in the interviews, they may ask this question: what is headless service? What is stateful set? Suppose if you are running database as containers, as a pods in Kubernetes, what object you used, right? So we will use stateful set. Now let's come and understand some additional concepts, like we have a config maps and we have a secrets. We have a config maps and we have a secrets. So how are we passing configurations, like configurations which are going to be vary from each and every environment, right? As of now, can we hard code the configurations like usernames, passwords, those things in a application? So developer should not hard code something which is going to be changed for each and every environment. If we hard code in the code, can we use same code to deploy for all the environments? Right? If we hard code, we cannot do that. So while writing a Docker file or while creating an image also, you should not hard code anything. But how can we externalize? How we are externalizing those configurations which the developer should externalize or we should externalize, right? How developer is externalizing? How he is referring those things as of now? As a environment variables. So while creating a containers in Docker, we can pass those as an environment variables. In Kubernetes also we are passing as an environment variables, something like this. But now my question here is, we are going to maintain these manifests, whatever manifest you are using, whatever manifest we are maintaining, right? We are going to maintain these manifests in a version control systems. And again, using Jenkins, I'm trying to apply this in QA environment, first dev environment, then QA environment. Can I use same manifest? If I use same manifest, if I use same manifest, can I use same manifest? If I use something like this manifest, if I apply in a Kubernetes dev cluster by connecting to dev Kubernetes cluster, if I apply this same username and password, if I apply to the production or QA cluster by connecting to the QA Kubernetes cluster, so same, right? Same username and password. But in real time, you will have a different usernames, password, different credentials for each environment, right? And also, what is the one more problem? Can I maintain this? We will maintain this manifest. This is also our source code, right? So we are going to maintain this in a version control system. What is the problem if I maintain in the version control system? Here, these are confidential informations. My usernames and passwords are confidential informations. These usernames and passwords are confidential informations. Can we check in these confidential informations as is in a human readable format? So how can I separate this one? How can I separate this one from my pods? Right? That is where we have a config maps and secrets in a Kubernetes. So config map. Again, it's a Kubernetes object using which we can create or define configuration, configurations, configuration files or configuration values as key value pairs. As a key value pairs, you can create a config map in the Kubernetes cluster. Then I can refer the config map from my manifest. I can refer the config map from my manifest, my Kubernetes manifest. I can create a config map as a key value pair or as a file. So then I can refer that config map in my Kubernetes manifest, something like this. As a key value pair also I can define something like this, API version v1 kind config map metadata. You can give some name, Spring App config spec. Here you can define your key value pairs. You can define your key value pair, something like this. Here it is not spec. In case of this, it's a data. Data as a file also you can mention, or data as key value pairs also you can mention, something like this. Username, anything. It's a key and a value. I can say something like this, Mongo username, anything, key, value, something like this. Mongo password, something like this. I can create object, this object in my dev environment Kubernetes cluster. I will connect to the dev cluster. I can create this object in a dev cluster. In my pod manifest, right? In my pod manifest, something like this I can use. You can use this config map secrets in your pod manifest. That can be deployment, that can be replica set, that can be replication controller, whatever it is in your pod manifest. You can refer something like this. Anything, any pod manifest. Let me take this one. So here, instead of hard coding in your pod manifest, instead of hard coding in your pod manifest, in your pod manifest, right? This node load balancer will not work. I'll come to that later. Now, instead of hard coding in your pod manifest, something like this, what can I do, right? Instead of defining something like this value, I can create a config map in my cluster. I can refer this value from this config map. Right here, I can say something like this, wherever I am using, right? Here, something like this value from. I will not hard code the value. That we will pass as an environment variable also, but value from where? Config map key reference. So my config map name. What is my config map name here? This is my config map. And what is the key? What is the key here? The username, this one. This is the key. Similarly, password also. Value from, I can refer something like this. Value from config map key reference. Name, my config map name. My config map name is this. Value, sorry, not value here, key. So this is the key, something like this. Something like this. Now same thing I can refer here also. Value from something like this. Now this config map I'm going to create in dev Kubernetes cluster. This is my manifest. Suppose when I am deploying my same application in a QA Kubernetes cluster, I will create a config map in that cluster with the different configurations. Something like this, just to give an example. Now, do I need to update this one? When I deploy this application in dev Kubernetes cluster, I will create a config map something like this. When I am creating the same application, when I am deploying the same application in QA cluster, I can create a config map something like this. Here, I am not hard coding the values. I am referring from the config maps. I can refer from the config maps so that it will read the value from the config map and assign here. Right? I can create a config map and I can access something like this. But without creating a config map in that cluster, if I deploy this application by referring values from a config map, will it work? Suppose without creating a config map, let me take some application, maybe some. Let me take this one itself. Now I am, instead of hard coding here, something like this. I will say value from config map key reference. Something like this. Name I will say Spring App config key something Mongo username. Here also I will say value from config map key reference name, that config map name key. Here I will say something like this Mongo password. Similarly here also value from config map key reference name, that Spring App config key Mongo password. config map key reference name Spring App config key Mongo username, something like this. So first let me delete this. Let me delete this, whatever I already deployed. Let me delete this. Guys, I'll come to this. What is service of type load balancer? I have to discuss this. We will discuss that. Now load balancer will not be created. So I'm changing it to node port. Now this is my manifest file. So here I am not hard coding in my manifest also. I am referring from a config maps. I am referring from a config maps. Without creating a config map, if I deploy, will it work? Let me show that. Do I have any config maps in this? This is for a different purpose. Kubernetes is used. And do I have any secrets? This is for a different purpose, not for our requirement, right? So these are used by Kubernetes related pods. Right? Now let me apply this manifest. Now if you see, create container config error. Is our pods are ready? Is it running now? So what is the problem? How can I troubleshoot this issue? kubectl describe. Let me describe my pod, any pod, this pod, right? If you see, what is the error? Config map, Spring App config, not found. Similarly, let me describe this one. In this deployment, in this manifest also, I'm referring that config map. I don't have a config map, right? Let's assume this kubectl is connected to the dev Kubernetes cluster. This kubectl is connected to the dev Kubernetes cluster. I need to create a config map. Now I can create a config map, something like this. Using command also you can create, guys, or using manifest also you can create. If you want to create a config map using command also you can create kubectl command imperative, or using manifest file also, something like this. Something like this. Something like this, config map. This is standards, right? Something like this. Let me create a config map. Let me apply this. Now I have a config map. Now, is our parts are going to be scheduled now? Do you see? Is our parts are getting created? Once I have a config map ready. So I can externalize this one. I can create a config map. So you can directly create this config map from the CLI using command or manifest, right? But what is the problem with config map? What is secret? What is the problem with config map? What is secret, right? So if you see, I have a config map. If someone has access to the Kubernetes cluster, Kubernetes CLI, will they able to see what is the data we have in a config map by describing that? If I have access to the Kubernetes CLI, if I describe someone has access like a developer, if they describe this config map, will they able to see this information? What is key, value, key and value? To the cluster if they have access to the cluster. So how to hide this information again? Config map can be used for a normal information which is not confidential. You can externalize from pod manifest. You can maintain the data which is not confidential. The confidential information, how can I hide? Again, within cluster also, how can I hide? Now I am able to hide from SCM. I am able to hide from SCM. If I check in only this, if I have something like this, I'm not hard coding my username and password. I'm referring from some object. That object I can create in a Kubernetes cluster. Now how to hide within the cluster also, like we can go for a secrets. Instead of config map, if you have some confidential information which you want to maintain in a Kubernetes cluster, right? You can go for a secrets. You need to create a secrets. There is another object which you can create, something like this. So instead of config map reference, the confidential information you can refer from a secret. Instead of config map reference, you can refer from a secret. Something like this. The username, okay, if you want to still maintain as config map, you can maintain. The password, the username, if you want to still maintain from a config map, you can maintain. The password, it is up to you, right? So the password I will refer from secret key reference. Again, name and key. But did I created a secret as of now? I'm trying to refer from a secret, but did I created a secret as of now? So I'm trying to refer this one from secret. Now let me apply. Now you see your deployment is getting updated. Your deployment is trying to updated, getting updated, right? Your deployment is getting updated. But is it able to do that? If you see, when we are updating the, if you see guys, when we are creating, it is creating first one, second one, third one. But when update, it is in a reverse order. First this getting updated, then once is done, then it come to here, then it will come to here in a stateful set. And if you see the deployment, I'm trying to update, is successful. What is the problem? This is not getting updated. This is new one. It is trying to create a new pod with that changes. It is not ready. It is not terminating this one. Once this is ready, then only it will terminate old pods. Why it is not coming up? What is the problem? Because we are referring a secret in the pod manifest. We are referring a secret from the pod in the pod manifest. That secret has been not created. Something like this. kubectl describe pod. You describe any pod. Secret with that name it is expecting. Secret with that name. I have a config map with this name, not with the secret, right? So I need to create a secret also with that name, right? Or let me do something. So here secret key reference also I just I didn't change this one. Maybe you can define something like this Spring App secret. I need to create this secret object. Spring App secret. So I will create the secret with that name, then I will apply this one. So you can create directly using command also, or you can create using YML also, whatever way, directly, right? If you want to create a secret, something like this. You want to create a secret using command directly, kubectl, right? Create secret. Secret type is generic basically. Your secret name, Spring App secret. This is my secret object name. It's a key value pair, right? So I'm saying hyphen from something like this, literal. So whatever I'm referring here, secret key, right? Something like this. Your password. If you have multiple key value pairs, right, you can repeat this something like this. If you want to create multiple another key, another value. So for now, just something like this. I can create using command directly, or I can create using manifest also. Whatever you want to do. Secret. Secret. Your secret name, this name, and here you can mention your the value, the key value pair, right? It is something like this. String data. Type of the secret, right? It will use some encryption type, something like this. It will use some algorithm to encrypt this data. You can create a secret something like this using manifest, or you can create using command, something like this. Now let me create. Now if you see, I have this secret. If I describe this secret, even though someone has access, as admin, I created the confidential information as a secret. As a developer, he has access to the Kubernetes cluster. If he describe, will he come to know what is there here? Right? Will he come to know what is the actual this one? right? It's hide, right? It's encrypted and stored here. Now, then I can use that secret in my, manifest file. Now, if you see, our pods will be created now. Our pods will be created now. Now it is getting created and it will terminate the previous pods and it will create a new pods. It is terminating the old pods and it is creating a new pods for your deployment. But guys, for a stateful set, right? Stateful set, you need to delete and create because it is not going to take that information. Whatever, just now I created a secret, right? It is not taking that information. Okay. So in the interviews, they are going to ask, what is config map? What is secret, right? So we can provide the configuration informations as an environment variables, whatever as an environment variables, which we are referring in pod manifest. We can externalize from the pods again. We can create a config map or secret, and we can refer those config maps and secrets in the pods. So secrets is for confidential information. Config map is for whatever which you feel it's not confidential. So this config map and secret also a Kubernetes object. Config map and secret also a Kubernetes object. Using config map, we can create a configuration as a data, as a file, or as a key value pair. Secret, we can create a secrets also, which you can refer in your pod manifest. Then we have a one more small topic, liveness probe and readiness probe. Liveness probe and readiness probe. There are probes. There are two types of probes, liveness probe and readiness probe. Guys, as of now, how Kubernetes is identifying that your pod is not, when your pod will be rescheduled, when your pod will be recreated, what it is checking, what Kubernetes is checking, right? Is Kubernetes is checking the health of your application, which is running inside your container, or is it checking just the process, whether the process is running or not as of now? Like yes, Kubernetes, right? Kubernetes as of now, what it is checking? It's just checking the process. Let's assume you are running one web application, one web application as a container. Let's assume Tomcat process is running, but your application is not responding because of some issue. Maybe there is a deadlock in your application, right? Your application is hung, it is not responding. Is it going to recreate or reschedule that pod as of now? Suppose if your application is not working, but Tomcat is up and running, the Tomcat process is running. It is not going to reschedule or recreate. but I want to perform the health on my application. If my application is not responding, I want to recreate or restart that container, so that if I restart that container, maybe my issue might be fixed. My application is not responding because of there is a deadlock in your process, right? It is not responding or it is hung for some reason. If sometimes most of the cases restart will fix the issue. But how can I perform the health check on my application, which is running as a container inside my Kubernetes pod? And if my application is not responding, there are two things which you need to do. The end user traffic should not go to that pod because your application is not responding, not working. Service should not route the traffic to that pod. One thing, service should not route the traffic to that pod. That pod IP has to be removed from the service endpoint. That pod information has to be removed from the service endpoint. Because that pod is not healthy, the container is not healthy, the application is not healthy. That is one thing. And it has to restart your container so that it might fix your issue. So how can I perform the health check on the containers, or basically the applications which are running inside that container, so that it will restart if there is an issue in your application and it will stop sending the traffic to that container, right? How can we do that? By using the concept of liveness probe and readiness probes. These are the health checks. Liveness probe and readiness probes are health checks which we can perform on the containers, right? So tomorrow we will see. So config map also you can use it as a value, right? Config map also you can use it as a value. Suppose instead of key value pair, guys, suppose instead of key value pairs, I'll show that in a Prometheus. Instead of key value pairs, you can define as a file, something like this, as a file. You can define all those file content here, whatever. So this you can use as a value in your Kubernetes, right? As a value, this file, this is your configuration file. How can I attach, or how can I mount this file with my container so that it will use this file, right? So this config map, I can refer as a value, values, right? Name, something, some ABC. Instead of host path, instead of NFS, I will say config map. The name of the config map, something like this. This I can mount with some file within that container, right? Within that container, I can mount value mounts, name, this name. Now mount path. So in that, you may have some, something like this. In that container, this is the path. There you have that file, right? You can mount something like this. So whatever content, right? You are mounting a file. This is your configuration, right? You are creating as a config map this file. So this content will be, you are mounting a file. So this is the content it will take in your container, right? So you can refer config map also as a value in your containers. You can do something like this. You are providing your configuration at the runtime using config map. You can refer key where those key value pairs, you can read it as an environment variables are and pass. You can define a config map as a file also. That file you can directly use as a value. You can mount, right? This is the content which you are mounting to this file. This file is part of your container, right? So this is how you can use the config maps as a also as a values. Right, if you know the algorithm, right, if you know the algorithm, like what type of secret you used, you can encrypt this one also. It's a type of one algorithm, encryption algorithm to encrypt. This is about config maps and secret, guys. So tomorrow I will explain few, like first 10-15 minutes we will discuss about liveness probe and readiness probe. Once that is done, we have still lot of topics to cover. We have a service of type load balancer. We need to discuss about ingress. We need to discuss about RBAC. We need to discuss about Helm, right? Finally, we will deploy Prometheus and Grafana in our Kubernetes cluster. So still these topics has to be discussed. So this week also, complete week, we are still going to discuss about Kubernetes. Thank you, guys. That's it for today. Try to practice whatever we discussed. Create a config map, create a secrets, refer config maps and secrets in your manifest files, right? We'll continue tomorrow on liveness probe and readiness probe, right? Then we will set up a Kubernetes cluster using EKS, right? What is the problem with self-managed Kubernetes cluster? How to set up a EKS cluster? We will continue tomorrow. Thank you, guys. I'm stopping the session. We'll continue tomorrow. Are you guys able to complete that assignment, whatever I have given? Last week, I asked you to deploy the Spring Boot application using Jenkins. If not yet done, try to finish that as early as possible so that you can do the CI/CD automation also using Jenkins. Okay. Thank you. We'll continue tomorrow.